Yale receives 1,000 fewer single choice early action applications in fall 2024 than it did in fall 2023. That is the topic of today's video. My name is Craig Meister. I'm a college admissions coach. You can learn more about me and how you can work with me one-on-one throughout the entire college admissions process on my website, which is collegemeister.com. And if you're interested in learning about whether or not you are or your student is on track for selective college admission in the United States of America, visit areyouontracktogetin.com. Again, that's areyouontracktogetin.com, at which you will complete a free 3-minute assessment. Your results will be emailed to you right away, and they will help you clarify whether or not you are or your student is on track for selective college admission in the United States of America. The article in the Yale Daily News focuses on the drop that has occurred as a result of Yale returning to a form of being test required. It's known as test flexible because you can submit AP scores or IB scores in lieu of ACT or SAT scores now at Yale. Yale was test optional since the pandemic. And once the pandemic left us, Yale remained test optional until the current admission cycle. What you're looking at here is Yale's early application numbers all the way back from the fall of 2027 up until now, the fall of 2024. And what you see is that in fall of 2023, Yale received 7,856 single choice early action applications. Whereas in the fall of 2024, Yale received 6,754 single choice early action applications. Single choice early action is basically like restrictive early action. It means you cannot apply to any other private institution in the United States early action or early decision. However, you can apply to other public schools early action. Now, it is interesting that if you look back to the year right before the pandemic, Yale received 5,777 single choice early action applications. So Yale is still receiving about 1,000 more applications this fall than it received that fall when there was the old-fashioned test required policy in place at Yale. But I would like to dedicate today's video to all the students who over the last 4 admission cycles were rejected from Yale in favor of students who got in with not impressive SAT or ACT scores at all, or maybe who didn't even sit for the SAT or ACT, but who still got into Yale because their high school transcript was convincing enough to get in to Yale. And those individuals also applied during a time, 3 of those cycles, when the admissions team was also willing and able to consider racial and ethnic identity in order to make admissions decision. This video today is in memory of those students. It's also in memory of Yale's reputation, which may never recover from the fact that the last 4 admission cycles were conducted in a test optional environment, and therefore a good percentage of the accepted students at Yale over the last 4 admission cycles had no business being in an institution recognized as being creme de la creme. Let's just put it that way, because they themselves were academically not creme de la creme. What this chart shows you is that Yale was doing cocaine the last 4 admission cycles, and that is the equivalent of being a test optional institution. It's a really great high in the moment, but what you see is that Yale was receiving a good 1,000 extra applications per cycle that it had no business receiving if students were being honest with themselves and if counselors were giving good counseling advice to students in high schools around the world. But being in a test optional environment caused all of these high school counselors to look the other way, and also caused many students not to have to look at themselves in the mirror, at least figuratively, and face the reality of the fact that they are not as strong as they purport to be. And so a lot of those students who've been applying the last 4 admission cycle actually got in. Now, what percentage, again, I don't know, but you can be sure that Yale accepted a good number of students that never would have even applied to Yale had it been a test required institution for the past 4 admissions cycles. Better late than never, Yale. Many students still got in with exemplary test scores the last 4 cycles. And those students should be extremely proud of the accomplishment of earning admission at and ultimately attending Yale University. But a significant percentage of students over the last 4 admission cycles were admitted by Yale looking the other way. Water under the bridge now, or so Yale may think, but Yale in the process has permanently altered its reputation in the minds of Americans and individuals around the world who are actually thinking clearly about what does it mean to be a student at Yale as well as a Yale graduate. It will never be considered quite the same after the last 4 admissions cycles. Now, let's say you really want to go to Yale and you finished your Common App and you want to know if it's as strong as possible and whether or not in its current condition your chances of admission are impressive, inconclusive, or inadequate. You need my pre-read. Getting my pre-read now means having me review your entire application, just like an admissions officer or admissions committee at Yale will review it later, and receiving by email, no later than the time you reserve, a comprehensive report highlighting what's working and what's not on your full Common App and your Yale Common App supplement. If you've yet to submit your Common App to Yale, my pre-read may motivate you to make adjustments to it before your deadline. If you've already submitted your Common App to Yale, my pre-read will prepare you for what I deem to be your likely admissions outcome at Yale University in New Haven, Connecticut. To purchase my pre-read now, go to mypreread.com. Again, that's mypreread.com. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. If you'd like to work with me one-on-one throughout the entire college admissions process, go to my website, which is collegemeister.com. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, and most importantly, stay stress-free throughout the entire college admissions process.